Good evening and welcome to our brand new show, Movie Mondays. I'm your host Ollie, and today we'll be talking about some of the best films there are out there. And I'll be pleased to be joined by two very special guests, Leo and Cassie. How are we today?
I'm good, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Now let's get straight into it. Would you two consider yourselves big film fans?
I personally am not the biggest film fan, just because I find if a film doesn't keep me interested and involved in what's going on, then it makes it really hard for me to care about the plot.
I love films personally. I'm more of a behind the scenes fan. I just like watching the process from pre-production to post, and I just think that the way that the films are made is so interesting, and it's so nice to see how they bring an idea to life.
Now you both sound like big film fans. I'm assuming you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street.
Mm-hmm.
What do we think about it?
I think it's a really good film. I think that it balances, some serious topics with comedy, and I think that the way that it's made is so good, and I think it's a really, really good film.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fantastic. I've got to agree there. It's incredibly well made, and it's very interesting. I mean, I didn't know what to think about it. It was 3 hours long. I didn't know if it was going to keep me interested, but it definitely did, and it was fantastic.
Did that put you off from watching it at the beginning? It being 3 hours long?
It did a bit. It took me a while, but I watched it and I'm very glad I did.
Because no one wants to sit there for 3 hours and watch a film, unless it's good all of the time, which is very hard. Now this clip will definitely summarise the controversy that is throughout most of the film, and you can now see for yourself. What do we think about that film? That segment, even?
Well, I think that obviously it is quite a controversial scene. Obviously, it depends on the audience watching it, but I can admit to myself it was quite comedic. And I think, in a way, it's supposed to have some comedic value purely to just kind of, show you an insight into what the rich people in that film are actually thinking.
Yeah, I mean, I can see why people would think it's funny. I personally thought it was pretty controversial. I mean, you never know who's going to be watching, so you don't know if they're going to find the humour in it as well. But I think it's good for the film, as it definitely goes to show how people in higher society let a lot of things get to their head, and they abuse the power and the money that they have and people in the process.
It shows what money can do for you and what you can do with a lot of money. And yeah, it shows how much it can ruin you. Now for our next segment, we'll be talking about some of the reviews that this film got. And the first review says, "A crazy masterpiece, sadly misunderstood. A lot of kids want to become rich doing stupid things after this movie. Who cares? It's great. Perfect acting by DiCaprio. Martin Scorsese doesn't miss a shot." Would you agree that it's a crazy masterpiece?
I would agree that it's a crazy masterpiece, and I do agree that it is misunderstood, obviously, because I think people see those controversial scenes like the one that we just saw, but obviously, I don't know, I think that it has a lot of value.
There's a lot to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that DiCaprio and Scorsese did very well on the film. I think they kind of made the film what it needed to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely misunderstood in some ways because people miss they miss the point, they miss the lesson you're supposed to learn from it. But it is an incredibly well-made film, and you can't deny that everyone who made it definitely did a really good job, and yeah.
It shows you how crazy because it is, because that's based off someone's life. And although some bits might have been made to look better for the camera, I think a lot of it was very, very controversial and real.
Yeah.
And the next review, "The storyline was hard to follow, unless you sit through the entirety of the movie. The only good thing about this was that there was the rating that they gave at the end. That's 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. It was distasteful to the human eye." That's a very closed off view. That's someone who thought about it. And
I mean, distasteful to the human eye, it's a bit much. It's just a film. If you didn't like it, you could have stopped watching it. I mean, there's always the option there. And although, yeah, we said 3 hours is definitely a long time to be watching a film, I think you should always go watching something with an open mind. You can't have formed your opinions already, otherwise you're not going to like it regardless.
Definitely, and then you're wasting your time anyway before you even watched it.
Yeah, I'd have to completely agree with Cassie. I think that it was a really good film, and I think the person that watched that, although he may not have liked it, he also wasn't paying attention, because despite him maybe not, or her maybe not enjoying the film, it is obviously very well made, and I don't think it's a waste of time at all.
Yeah, it's definitely a masterpiece, as the review said before. And for the last review, the hero of the movie beats his wife, treats really drunken driving and flying like a joke, swindles people and seems never to suffer any consequences. Obviously, some people enjoy it, but he is such a sleazeball and seemingly gets away with everything, leaves you feeling disgusted with society. I wouldn't call it the hero. I'm not sure why they are. Would you agree?
No, not at all. None of his actions display that he is a hero. I think that he is almost a warning, and I would agree that the whole film can make you disgusted with society, but I think that that's the point. And I think it's like very close-minded that he would call Jordan Belfort a hero. I think that other people might think that because it's very obviously not true.
I would want to know what happened in the film to make him think he was a hero.
No, I know. I mean, it definitely should not be viewed as someone to look up to or follow in the footsteps of, as he did horrible things. But I mean, I think if someone is viewing him in such ways, they need to go back to school because they clearly do not understand how things work.
They should.
But I do definitely think that he was not a good person. It was very obvious. You know, he definitely abused his wife. He was not good to his children, and he abused himself in quite a lot of ways. But he definitely got some sort of punishment in the end, even if it wasn't one that people particularly wanted.
He was a very bad person with a lot of what he did, and how money definitely changed him. You can see the transition of when he didn't have any money and he was quite humble. He had a nice wife, and then as soon as he got money, he left her and then started abusing money.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I'd say the fact that he didn't get the ending that he deserved is very representative of, people in our current society and how people in power can quite often get excused for things that they do. I just think it's a very good film to portray like worldly affairs and political affairs and show how important and ingrained into society it is.
Yeah, and I suppose we think that people like stockbrokers like him would be a little bit more classy in how they act, and this show exposed what they're actually like.
Exactly.
But this next segment is going to show how well someone is at selling something, and everyone would have seen this. So we can watch it now.
This fucking pen right here. You can sell anything, sell that. Go ahead. Sell me that pen.
Can I finish eating first? I need tonight.
Brad, show him how it's done. Boom. Sell me that pen. Watch. Go on.
Let me sell this fucking pen.
That's my boy right there.
This pen.
Fucking sell anything.
Why don't you do me a favor? Write your name down on that napkin for me.
I don't have a pen.
Exactly. Supply and demand, my friend.
You know what I'm saying? He's creating urgency. You get them to want to buy the stuff. Gets them it's something that they need. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. All nuns are lesbians.
What the fuck are you talking about, Otter? Think about it. They can't keep a dude, so they're gonna start fucking
4 fucking times, Kimmy. 4 times.
He's not with us. He's not with us.
What do you think about that scene? It's very iconic. I'm sure you've seen it before, and it's very interesting way of selling something.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting sales technique, and I think that it kind of is what's the word?
It's a good way of seeing if someone's naturally good at selling something.
Yeah, and I think it's a good depiction of Jordan Belfort's starting point and obviously how he's a natural at sales.
And improvising.
Exactly.
Now I want both of you to sell me this pen.
Well, do you need a pen?
I'm not in the market for a pen.
Because I think that a pen can have a lot of different uses. I think that it will come in handy when you least expect it, when you have no phone. It's good to keep in your bag. You'll always need a pen for something. I think it's always going to be useful to you, and I think that it would benefit you to have this pen.
Okay, that's an interesting way of selling. How would you sell a pen?
Well, there's a phrase, you always miss the chances that you don't take. And I mean, I think it's very smart to think that way, as it always gives you more time to deliberate over things. And you never know what could happen when you leave this building today. There could be a situation that would make your entire life better. It could change your future. And it all depends on this pen. I mean, it's just a pen. It's cheap. You are not going to be losing much if you buy this from me. However, you could be losing your entire future if you chose to walk away without it.
That's a very interesting way of selling. That was a beautiful speech, and I think you did very well.
Thank you.
Well done. I'd hire one of you. Now, next, Martin Scorsese. He's a great director. He's done so many amazing films that I'm sure we all have watched. So what would you say is your favourite films? What would you say is your favourite film by him?
So my personal favourite would probably be Wolf of Wall Street, honestly, because I just think that it was so well crafted. I think that Martin Scorsese put a lot of time into it, and I think, as I've been saying, it depicts society so well, and I just think that because of the amount of controversy in this film, it just shows like how different people's opinions are on certain like political and world affairs. I just think it's really interesting.
I mean, although I think The Wolf of Wall Street is definitely a fantastic film, my personal favourite's got to be Hugo. I think it's severely underrated. I don't know that many people who've actually watched it, but it's a childhood favourite for me, you know, very nostalgic, and I do really love it.
Yeah, what's it about?
Well, this little boy, he lives in a station. He's unfortunately an orphan, but he's got a love for mechanics that he got from his dad, and he finds this robot that's really good at drawing. However, there's a man who wants to, you know, ruin everything. He wants to take the robot away. He doesn't want the boy to be happy, but, you know, it's a real bittersweet ending. You know, everyone gets the happy ending, and I love that.
That's really sweet. I'll probably watch that.
I think you should.
Yeah.
I've got to say it is an underrated film because I've never heard of it, and I've got to say I will go home and watch it. It's definitely on my list.
What's your personal favourite?
My favourite would be Goodfellas. I feel like I wish I could come up with one that's more unique and not one that everyone would say, because I think it's one of the best films of all time. I'm not sure your opinions. I'm not sure if you've seen it.
I've never seen it.
No, you need to go and see it because this is an iconic film. If you definitely like America, and it's probably with gangsters in the 80s and 90s. I think it's definitely a good watch for you. And now we've got a teaser for next week's trailer, and we can watch it now.
You were sick. Delusional.
He's a monster.
This is a very disturbed individual.
He's not sick. He's perfect. You're Joker.
What do we think about that trailer?
I think that was really interesting. I think obviously they put a lot of time into, you know, hair and makeup and obviously the set, and it just seems very well put together. I am not the biggest fan of the Joker films purely because I've never seen them, and they're not my style of genre. But it's so well put together, and I think I might have to give it a watch.
I've got to say you should watch it. It's definitely the ones before. They were a good watch with Batman, and they were some of the best films.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to say the same. Unfortunately, I've never really been, you know, that into the Joker films, but I mean, that trailer's definitely got, you know, something in it. I really do want to watch it. It looks really interesting. You can tell that they spent a lot of time when it came to, you know, the makeup, the special effects, the sets, the clothing, and I can only imagine how good the whole movie would be. I just hope that it lives up to my expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry.
No, sorry for interrupting you.
Especially because it's probably in the still in the late stages of production. It's probably going to be even better than the trailer itself. I think I'm really excited to watch it.
I think we need to see how far special effects and, like you said, hair and makeup has come since many years ago. Because when you watch the first Superman compared to now, when that first film came out, no one would have expected what they would look like now. Yeah. And I think this Joker film will definitely see and show you how far TV and movies have come.
Yeah, we'll see the development.
So what is your what's your favourite Joker film, if you've seen any?
I haven't seen any.
Or one with Joker in.
With you.
You must have seen The Dark Knight.
No.
I think the only film I've seen with Joker in is probably Suicide Squad, but that's a completely different version of the Joker. And I think a lot of people don't really like his version of the Joker.
Yeah, he's not I don't think that one was the best, but we all have our own opinions. My favourite is The Dark Knight. Yeah. I think that's a classic. That's one that he's in. That's what he's mainly known for. But thank you both for being here today and for your insights.
Yeah, thank you
and
for
your
having
opinions.
us.
And hopefully we'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching, and we'll see you again next week.